But as we know, we also have what has been going on for the past week and a half with FIFA, the past week more likely, of the rough topic of FIFA selling some of its stake, some of its shares, some of the organization for an investment that would bring liquidity and revenue, yes, in the business aspect of the game. And for those that don't know, esto es pase ambidiestro, ambidextrous pass, fútbol honestamente, soccer, football honestly. We're going to focus on FIFA. We have been hearing news about FIFA extending investments and looking to sell some of its stake in organization for investments. And of course, investments means profits, pushing and exploiting certain products. But we are going to talk about how FIFA is a structure governing wise, how the governing body of FIFA is a structure. We are going to talk about who and how many times were FIFA approached for an investment of selling some of the company's stake. We are going to dive into how FIFA creates money and its revenue and how it's spread. And we are going to talk about why selling some of FIFA's stake will be viewed as a harmful thing to sports in a sport that belongs to the people. We are going to dive straight into how FIFA's governing body is structured. We have FIFA president. The president of FIFA is Gianni Infantino. The Swiss Italian football administrator took office in February 2016 following the resignation of Sepp Blatter and was subsequently re-elected. How is FIFA governed? Again, FIFA is the Federation Internationale de Football Association, operates as a non-profit association governed under the Swiss Civil Code. Its organizational structure is divided into several main bodies that handle law-making, strategic decisions, and day-to-day management. First, we have the FIFA Congress, legislative body. What is this? Is the supreme authority of FIFA. The composition consists of representatives from all 211 member associations, national football federations, each receiving one vote regardless of size or geographical location. The responsibilities are voting on changes to the FIFA statutes, electing the FIFA president and members of independent judicial committees, approving the annual budget on financial reports, selecting the host nations for the men's and women's World Cups. Then we have the FIFA Council, the strategic body. What is this? This is the main decision-making body that replaces the former executive committee following major governance reforms in 2016. Is composed of the FIFA president and 36 representatives elected by member associations through their respective regional confederations, including a mandatory minimum number of female representatives. The responsibilities is setting FIFA's overall strategic direction, policies, and vision, managing global football strategy and international match calendars, appointing chairpersons to standing and judicial committees. Then the General Secretariat, the executive body. What is this? This is the operational engine responsible for executing the decisions made by Congress and Council. They are led by the Secretary General. Their responsibility is managing daily business, logistics, commercial operations, and tournament planning, managing financial administration, and broadcasting sponsorship distribution. Then you have the standing and the judicial bodies. The standing committee, the special committees is, people who are part of the finance, referee, development, medical, the advice to the council in specific technical areas. Independent judicial bodies includes the ethics committee, disciplinary committee, and appeal committee that handle the governance, enforcement, anti-corruption rules, and code of conduct violations independently of executive influence. But then we have the global regional confederation hierarchy. Below the overreaching FIFA structure sit 6 continental confederations that oversee regional club and national competitions. We have UEFA, that is in Europe, CONMEBOL, that is in South Africa, CONCACAF, that is North Central America and the Caribbean. Then we have CAF, that is Africa. We have AFC, that is Asia, and OFC, Oceania. And while independent of FIFA, these confederations coordinate directly with FIFA to manage scheduling, qualification pathways, and regional football development. Now we know how FIFA is structured. FIFA has a body of people that make decisions, and they are the ones who deal with all the things that have to be looked at, be passed, be challenged, and is a group of people that makes all these decisions. FIFA is a huge organization. It's the organization that controls the people's sport, which is football, soccer. Well, since 2018 till now, FIFA has been approached or FIFA has sought investment opportunities 3 times since 2018 until now. First in 2018, the 25 billion SoftBank consortium. The most notable attempt occurred in March 2018 when Gianni Infantino presented the FIFA Council with a secret 25 billion unsolicited offer from an international consortium of private investors. Then in 2019 to 2021, the CVC Capital Partners and CWC expansion. Following the collapse of the SoftBank offer, major private equity firms like CVC Capital Partners directly engaged FIFA and European clubs. Then we have the Thrive Eternal and the 20 billion FIFA Forward Enterprise Plan for 2026. This was the most recent FIFA leadership developed plan to sell up to 20% minority stake in FIFA's commercial operation to outside investors for 4.2 billion, valuating the commercial arm at 20 billion. The investors was a group that was led by Thrive Eternal, a permanent capital investment vehicle funded by American investors, and alongside advisory support from Wall Street Bank, JP Morgan, to structure a newly formed subsidiary named FIFA Forward Enterprise that will house all broadcasting, ticketing, licensing, and sponsorship rights for the FIFA World Cup. Then you have JP Morgan, who was the financial advisor for FIFA. The Wall Street Investment Bank acted as FIFA's official financial advisor, helping value the prospective commercial subsidiary at 20 billion in structuring the private equity deal. FIFA has been approached, or at least sought, to make investments 3 times on selling some of the commercial part of FIFA. One in 2018, then 2019 to 2021, and lastly 2026, which Infantino has been the one in charge to roll it out. Infantino has been the one in charge to roll it out to the point that he pushed and said to all the members that there is $30 million waiting to be transferred to them if they sign the deal. But the outcome of all this on this 2026 offer, there has been a massive pushback from UEFA, CONCACAF, and the Asian Football Confederation, AFC, and domestic leagues in general, who threatened boycotts over the privatization of World Cup assets. This forced FIFA to scrap the proposal entirely. But now that we know how FIFA works, how many times was FIFA approached? Now we're moving on to FIFA's income breaks down into 5 core revenue streams. First of all, we have the television broadcasting rights. It's the biggest one. Which produces around 45% of the total revenue FIFA sees. Broadcasting rights are FIFA's largest single source of income. Networks and streaming services worldwide bid aggressively for exclusive rights to broadcast the World Cup matches, regional qualifiers, the Women's World Cup, and the expanded FIFA Club World Cup. Major media companies purchase rights divided by geographical territories: North America, Europe, Asia, South America. Then we have marketing and sportsmanship right. That brings about 24% of the total revenue for FIFA. Global corporations pay substantial fees to partner with FIFA for brand visibility across the stadium boards, digital campaigns, and official broadcasts. Commercial partners are divided into structured tiers. We have FIFA partners, top tier global partners, Coca-Cola, Visa, Adidas, with long-term multiple tournament rights. Then we have World Cup sponsors, secondary tier holding rights specifically to a given World Cup edition. Then we have regional supporters and tournament partners, lower tier tailored to a specific global markets or localized events. FIFA, as we know, has had some of these Spanish partnerships, some of the top tier global partnerships with Coca-Cola, Visa, and Adidas for a while, and revenue has been made. But then we have the third revenue stream, which is ticketing and hospitality rights, that brings about 14% of the total revenue. Match day income is generated directly during major tournaments. General admission ticketing, millions of tickets sold for games across host stadiums. Corporate hospitality packages, high margin VIP suites, premium seating, catering, executive experiences sold to corporate clients and high net worth individuals in this game. Then the fourth revenue stream is brand licensing and rights, that brings about 11% of the total revenue. FIFA monetizes its global brand name and tournament logos through intellectual property licensing, video games licensing rights to console and mobile sports simulation games, merchandise and collectibles, royalties from official apparel, trading cards, sticker albums and souvenirs, e-commerce and digital commerce, brand licensing for global digital storefronts. Then the fifth revenue stream is just other income, which is about 6% total revenue. Is FIFA quality program, certification fees charged to manufacturers for tested equipment, balls, goal line technology, turf, FIFA museum and archival content, ticket sales of the Surge Museum, film, videos, archive rights, and host city contributions, and then fines and appeals, disciplinary fines issued to national federations or club for infrastructure. But where does all this money go? As a registered Swiss nonprofit association, FIFA reinvests the bulk of its revenue back into global football development. We have the FIFA Forward program, and the primary their focus for where this revenue will go for the FIFA program is one of them. And this is direct financial grants given to all 211 members associations to fund local infrastructure, youth academies, and women football programs. Then we have the tournament prize money, and this the primary destination is for financial payouts distributed to participating national federations based on their performance. Then we have club benefits program, and the destination of that revenue is compensating to pay professional clubs for releasing their players to participate in international tournaments. And lastly, we have operational expenses, and the revenue is put in here for logistics, VAR, refereeing, infrastructure, stadium staging, and administrative staff. FIFA has key partnerships. FIFA is the game of the people. Why would some of its stakes be sold? It will only get worse for the fan. The fan will be the one to struggle at the end of the day. But why selling a stake in FIFA's and the World Cup is widely viewed as harmful to a sport that belongs to the people? There's several key reasons. First of all, misalignment of priorities. Shareholder profit versus fan access. Fiduciary duty to returns. Private equity firms, corporate investors operate under a legal mandate to maximize financial returns to shareholders. Football governing bodies, by contrast, are supposed to act as nonprofit custodians responsible for growing the game, preserving grassroots access, and maintaining competitive integrity. But increased fan monetization to deliver promised returns to investors, pressure builds, and extract maximum value for supporters. This typically translates to higher ticket prices and expanded paywalls for broadcast rights, more aggressive commercial breaks, and expensive subscriptions. Then, secondly, we have the dilution of democratic governance and ownership, loss of custodianship. The FIFA World Cup is viewed as a cultural heritage asset rather than a corporate property. Selling equity effectively puts the global football central asset on an auction block, shifting influence from 211 members associations to private financial interest. opaque influence. Even with minority non-controlling stakes, private investors gain a strategic leverage over tournament formats, host nations selection, and scheduling decisions that impact millions of players and fans worldwide. And we have seen that in the past few World Cups. A lot of people say that FIFA has chose a political way to go about hosting certain World Cups in certain nations. And lately, the image becomes more real every time FIFA hosts a World Cup or is choosing a certain nation to host a World Cup. Football is getting out of the people's hands and is being used as a tool for political influence, and it's not a great view on some of these representatives in FIFA. But thirdly, we have the distortion of hosting and global equity focused on lucrative markets. Investors naturally seek to host events in markets that yield the highest immediate financial return. We saw it here in the United States. And sadly, for people like me, we thought that we were going to have the opportunity to watch more than one game, even though it was taking place in our home soil. For some of us, it was not the truth. For some of us, the truth was that we were going to have to watch some of these games from a comfortable place of our home because prices were through the roof. But this risks biasing future World Cup host sections towards wealthier nations or repeat host regions, sideline developing football nations that rely on hosting to build local infrastructure. Then the fixture of congestion. Commercial partners often push to expand tournaments or more frequently competition cycles, such as biennial World Cup or larger club World Cups to increase revenue opportunities, putting additional physical strain in the elite players. Then fourth, we have short-term cash injection versus long-term assets alienation. Trading away future revenues. A private equity stake trades away permanent full rights to long-term broadcasting and commercial profits in exchange for an immediate one-off cash windfall. Erosion of institutional independence. Relying on external financial backing compromises FIFA's neutrality and makes the organization vulnerable to political or financial demands from private consortiums. The global consensus, as UEFA stated during the recent pushback against FIFA's commercial stake proposal, some things are simply too important to sell. The FIFA World Cup belongs to football. It always will. That's exactly what UEFA said. And a FIFA that personally, as the years always come close to a World Cup, there's always hot takes that come on such organization. I believe that, and I have witnessed that every time a World Cup ends, some type of shifty news that makes the representatives of such organization like FIFA lose credibility come out. During the World Cup, we always talked about, yes, it was a great experience. Memories were created. That's the beautiful thing of this game. People come together, share a moment, make history. But in this World Cup, we knew that the football fan, the football fan is a person that does not come from a high class, comes from a low class or middle class. That's the truth. And sadly, those people had to find themselves between being able to watch one game and putting a lot of their financial savings on the line due to wanting to have the experience, or just purely don't have the experience. Not everybody had the chance to watch such World Cup, but that's what happens when you bring a world sport to a quote unquote developed market for the entertainment. Tickets, even in the highest areas of some stadiums, tickets were tens of thousands of dollars. The everyday American does not have the capability to do that. So that's a perfect example of where this World Cup is heading, where it was headed. And now it shows you with this deal that was offered to FIFA why FIFA pushed to go the way they did. $14 billion in revenue in the United States, Mexico, Canada World Cup with 48 teams does not seem to be enough for Infantino, and is a question to be asked to all the members of FIFA that make decisions for the future of this organization. But as we know, FIFA has a body of people who foresee what decisions are made and how decisions are made. And we know FIFA has been approached 3 times since 2018, then in 2019, and now in 2026, right after this World Cup. Who knows? Maybe they were approached before and they were just trying to wait and see how good of a revenue they pulled in this World Cup and laid that news down to see if it will go through and maybe, push the envelope on creating a little bit more of revenue. But FIFA, Infantino have gotten a little too greedy trying to sell the people's game. Now we know how FIFA also breaks down the revenue and where is localized and how is used. But we also know that with private investments come different decisions and power shifts. And it's not about the sport at all. It becomes about creating profits. Investment means you got to push for profits. And the people's games cannot be put on such predicament because this belongs to all of those that know where this game starts. But that's all for today. For FIFA, we know that Infantino now has a rough time being re-elected. And as he said, this main objective of FIFA has been scratched out of his plans. How much of a main objective it was doesn't look great, but sometimes people want to better organizations and they lose the core principles of the organization, chasing to bring more profits for the benefits of themselves and not the people who keep this sport on a big stage around the world. Well, that's all for today. And for those that don't know, esto es Pase Ambidiestro. Ambidextrous Pass. Fútbol honestamente. Soccer, football honestly. Thank you for those that are always here. And if you like the content, please like and subscribe. Do not miss anything on Serie A, La Liga, and the Premier League. And FIFA finds themselves in a shaky situation. Infantino, more than anybody, trying to roll out such deal to sell some of FIFA's stakes on the commercial side to create more profits that will not benefit the people who the sport belongs to. El fútbol le pertenece a la gente, el deporte más bello. FIFA se encuentra en un momento que no es muy sostenible. Eso es todo por hoy. Muchas gracias.